We'll hear background noise probably. Okay, here we go. So I can see that I'm presenting, but I can't see the presenting screen. It just says I'm presenting. So I'm just going to go from here. So I'm on today. I'm opening up the slides. When you go into the slides, I am on slide 9. It says EOP information. Before I go back there, I want to back up and just show you some things because you have access to all these slides that I've input here. So I showed you a while back the videos of the Matchlighter program. And that's the link for it, where you could get one-on-one help for your essays, especially those of you who are applying to private schools, and you're really going to need some more focus on your essays. Has anybody applied to that? Type yes or no in the chat. So you should all be typing either yes or no. Okay. Does anybody intend to apply to that? Just wondering. Angel says no, like exaggerated. He's not going to. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, Sergio said yes. One person says yes. Okay. When you go back here to UC prompts, that's everything you know. But when you go to the next slide, UC help. How to calculate your GPA. I went through a little video that was from, I want to say UC Santa Barbara. They're advisors, and they talked about how to calculate your GPA. We've already done this because I put you on the website to see how the calculation is done. But here it is again, if you want to look at it. It is a minimum 3.0 weighted GPA. Yes, weighted. Up to 4 classes or 8 semesters of honors or AP. So up to 4 classes total or 8 semesters. No more than 4 semesters can come from 10th grade year. So if you did 4 classes of AP or honors 10th grade and nothing 11th grade, you can only take 2, because you can only take up to 4 semesters or 2 classes from 10th grade. 10th and 11th, A through G classes only, and this includes summer after 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. So again, if you had classes you needed to make up, and you did it in any of that time, and you still have 11th grade summer school. So if you have something to make up and you need to fix your transcript, your GPA, get into summer school if you haven't already done it. And you can watch the video right here for more information, okay? And I continue to add to these as I find more resources that will help and support you guys. And some of this I'll pull over into next year when we start up again. Here's the EOP information. The first one that I opened is the PDF. Some of these are redundant. It looks like this. And then I opened it in Kami. So let me widen my screen. Desi, stop. Hold on real quick, guys. Go. Yeah. Dogs are like little kids. They need to go in and out, in and out. Okay, Cal State Apply. So EOP is at the Cal States. There's also EOP at the UCs, but they're separate entities, and they're run a little bit differently. So you're going to apply for EOP when you apply to the Cal States. That's when the application process happens. It's in that same application, and some things have to happen in order for you to apply to EOP and then to be able to submit your application. If you're applying to EOP, you can't submit your application before you do the EOP part. And then there are a couple parts that go with that. So educational opportunity program. So the goal of this educational opportunity application preparation worksheet is to help you gather the necessary information to complete the EOP application with Cal State Apply. The worksheet will provide an overview of EOP information and materials needed for the application, prompts to the biographical questions, and guidance for the EOP recommendation forms. So there are prompts just like the UC, and then there's recommendations, and you have to have the recommendations in as well. They're not optional. If you need assistance, there's an assistance or help. About EOP, what is it? Educational Opportunity Program designs, administers, and supports programs that deliver access and retention services to historically low-income and educationally disadvantaged students. An EOP student has the potential to perform satisfactorily in a CSU, but has not been able to realize this potential because of economic or educational background. This program provides admission, transitional academic and financial assistance to EOP eligible undergraduate students. To find out more about the goals of EOP services provided, eligibility requirement, visit, and we'll look at this. Okay, so what does that mean? Academically disadvantaged. So if you're a first generation student, if you're a certain income level, basically, if you think of what the AVID program does, the AVID program wants students who are kind of in the middle, high achieving, in the middle with the potential of high achieving, but don't have the support or the knowledge at home to help you get to college. That's pretty much what AVID is, kind of in a nutshell. And you have the motivation to want to go to college, okay? Let's take a look at this. Questions about EOP. Do you guys have any questions yet? If you do, probably don't raise your hand because I'm not looking at the screen. More like just open your mic and say, Miss, do you have a question? Okay. What is the function of EOP? The primary goal of CSU Educational Opportunity Program, remember this is for the Cal States, is to improve access of low-income first generation and historically disadvantaged students with potential for academic success by making higher education a possibility. EOP provides a comprehensive program of support services, which include but are not limited to recruitment, pre-admission counseling, orientation, summer program. There's a summer bridge program that potentially you could be a part of. Diagnostic testing, financial aid, follow-up, special admissions, pre-intro, instruction, academic advisement, tutoring, learning skills services, and personal educational and career counseling. So if you remember when my alum were talking to us and Giselle alluded to her EOP, and one thing she said that caught my ear, the small amount of money that they give you, it's not a lot of money. I want to say it's like $500, but what comes with that is, you heard her say check-ins with different mentors, but all of that is meant so that you're not alone in the Cal State system. You're going to encounter some issues, some problems, some roadblocks, some life happening to you, some whatever, and there are like a team of people at the Cal State that can help you through the EOP. They have an EOP office you can go in. It's like just having a connection so that if you need anything, they can help you. They also reach out to you and they want you to check in because they want to keep connection with you to make sure that everything's going okay with you in college. And if not, what can they do to help you? Okay. Students, some such students may be eligible for admission to the CSU campus through the Educational Opportunity Program. So what services do they provide? Comprehensive program of support services that include advising, learning skill development, tutoring, and academic advisement. The EOP provides educational opportunity to low-income students who have been traditionally excluded from higher ed. EOP can provide an EOP grant to students who are eligible for financial aid. Again, I told you that when Ariana's Corona and I myself went to the Cal State workshop now over a year plus ago, this EOP money is a small amount and it goes quickly. And so they only have so many spots in the EOP program. So what we learned at that conference was when you're applying to the Cal States, you really want to start and apply at the very beginning when it opens, and you want to submit your application as quickly as possible because that EOP now goes into a kind of a pool of EOP. And when they start reading and looking at those and they start granting those, it will run out before everybody submits. So it behooves you to do this early and then to make sure you get it in for the best opportunity of getting EOP. Who's eligible? It's kind of redundant again. The following eligibility criteria are specified in the CSU Educational Opportunity Program regulation and guidelines. An EOP student has a history of low family income, must be enrolled in a full-time basis, is an undergrad, which all of you will be, needs admission assistance as an exception admit, or meets regular admission requirements, but in the opinion of EOP personnel, will require a full range of assistance to exceed. So some people are like on the margin, but if you qualify for EOP, they conditionally admit you or exceptionally admit you, meaning with our EOP support, we think that you can probably make it in college, but without the support, you don't qualify quite yet to be there. But they see a lot in you and they think that you would be a productive member of society, you would go through and do well in college if you had that support piece. So it's a safety net, basically. has been nominated by an appropriate state agency, California High School or Community College, the Veterans Administration campus president, or a designee of the California State University. Are only ethnic minority students admitted through EOP? No. Any student has a low income, may need academic assistance, and meets other program admission criteria may be admitted through EOP. It's not an ethnically or race-based program. May regularly admissible applicants be considered? Yes. EOP can admit regular admissible students if they require the full program of assistance in order to succeed at the university. How do you apply? Interested applicants should start by checking the appropriate EOP box on Cal State Apply. Cal State Apply is where you will apply to the Cal States. So again, it's all encompassed in that application process. Will a student who does not need financial aid still qualify for EOP? Probably not. However, although low family income is a major consideration, the decision for admission is not made entirely on the basis of financial need. If the applicant is also academically underprepared, this and other factors will be taken into consideration. So maybe, like I said, maybe you're not quite prepared to be in a Cal State, but if you have the support, they believe that you would do well. Should students interested in EOP submit applications for admission to several CSU campuses? Yes, students should submit an application to the campus of their first choice. Applicants who are denied admission may request that their application materials be transferred to the second choice campus. So it's already in the application process, so you can request that it is transferred. You don't have to fill it all out again. If a student is denied admission through EOP, what happens next? The student denied admission through EOP is academically eligible for regular admission as determined by the CSU Eligibility Index. So this would mean that if you don't have a 3.0 or higher, automatically you're qualified to go to a Cal State or a UC school. If you have a 2.9, you are not qualified to go to a Cal State or a UC. However, they have exceptions. They have this thing called the Eligibility Index, and you look at your GPA and you look at your SAT or ACT scores, and you find on the chart where you are, and it gives you an eligibility index number. Based on that number, you may or may not be eligible to go to that school. And it also depends on how impacted that school is. Obviously, if you want to go to Cal State Fullerton, which is hugely impacted in most majors, that eligibility index number probably won't get you in because there's so many other people competing for those positions for, say, nursing, psychology, business, whatever it is, that your score will be too low for you to be admitted. But if you want to go to a Cal State like Bakersfield that's not impacted, you'd have a better chance of getting in there. So it just all depends. There's a lot of factors that happen with all of this. Eligibility index. Is not eligible for regular admissions, may be referred to community college to improve your, so if you go to community college, like say you have a 2.9 and you go to community college for 2 years, you bring your GPA up, you're back in the game of applying to the four-year schools with that GPA that you have now earned from the junior colleges, okay? Do EOP applicants automatically qualify for an application fee waiver? No, applicants must demonstrate financial need to be considered for fee waiver. That's all through fair and reduced lunch and all of that. This has nothing, they don't grant those. It's basically through our school based on that financial information. Determination of eligibility may be financial aid based. Review applicant's fee waiver application. Are EOP students automatically eligible for an EOP grant or other financial aid? No. EOP students are eligible to receive EOP grant if they qualify for the financial aid. However, they are not guaranteed to receive one. So EOP is kind of twofold. It's really the support system. And then I'm going to use Giselle's words again, the little bit of money that they gave you, $500. $500 is not a little bit of money. It's a lot of money, but in the whole scheme of scholarships, et cetera, and financial aid, hang on. Scholarships and financial aid, $500 is not a ton of money, right? But it's the support network that you get that helps you get through school when students may drop out because they don't know how to go change their major, or they don't know that they can change their major, or they don't know what to do because they're falling behind in this class and they just feel like they don't know what to do, so they just drop out. It's a safety net system that helps you. Any of you are going to need a support in college, and you're going to need to network with people, your counselor, your RA in your dorm, whoever, so that you have somebody there who helps you when you have questions and you need support in something. But EOP is another safety net program that you have to qualify for. Must students apply through EOP to be considered for financial assistance, grants, work study, and loans? No. Applicants who submit the required documents to the campus, financial aid office will be considered for financial aid if they are admitted to the university. Financial aid is awarded on the basis of individual need. However, EOP grants are available to EOP students only. So EOP is a separate entity. It has nothing to do with well, it's not related to FAFSA or anything that FAFSA gives you. It's a separate thing that is with the Cal States. Do students in community colleges EOP programs automatically qualify for CSU? Because the junior colleges have EOP as well. No, they must submit application and follow the same procedures as other applicants. So every time you go to a different school or different set of institutions, you have to apply. Once a student is admitted to a Cal State through EOP, are counselors available during the summer to assist them in selecting and registering for classes? Yes. Each EOP program also has an orientation program designed to introduce new students to the campus environment. I do remember with Giselle that she had the opportunity to go to San Marcos to this orientation program. However, I think her family traveled or she had something going on in the summer where she wasn't able to participate in it, but I do remember it was offered to her. This orientation includes an explanation of campus procedures and requirements. It's like giving you a head start on or a sneak peek on where you're going to be and what's to be expected before you actually go and have to do it. Students who have declared a major are also assisted by the respective academic department. Is EOP able to accommodate all students who do not meet regular admission criteria? No. Current CSU admission policy limits the number of students admitted as exceptions to small percentage. It is a small percentage. Again, and the sooner your application is in, the better chance you have of qualifying. How does EOP determine who will be accepted into the program? Students are evaluated based upon motivation. Huge. So they're looking at your answers, and we'll look at those questions in a minute. Past academic performance, GPA, your transcripts, all of that. Need for services and potential for success in college. The committee reviews and evaluates complete application, and applicant's complete file consists of CSU application, EOP supplementary forms, applicant information, the autobiography, recommendations, you need 2, and additional requirements. Committee makes a recommendation to EOP director for acceptance or denial. And then can CSU students participate in EOP once they have enrolled? No, EOP is an admission and retention program. Students must be evaluated and admitted to EOP before they begin classes. So this is part of the application process. This is something you do in tandem with applying to the Cal States. Let me see. So you would definitely go to Cal State Apply, and it's part of your first-time freshman application that you are going to apply to. What else do I want to show you? Questions. Oh, nope, I already did that one. This one, you want to know what the questions are. So biographical questions. Questions listed below are included in the EOP application. It's recommended that you prepare your responses in advance. That's why you're going to be writing these now. So all you have to simply do is copy and paste them once you have them edited, all that kind of stuff. Prepare your responses in advance and ask a teacher or counselor to help with proofreading. Have completed responses in advance will save time when completing the EOP application. When you guys get in to apply for the Cal States, this stuff should be done on a document where you just go copy and paste. Okay, and you should already be prepared for your letters of recommendation, because I'm going to show you what that is supposed to be like, so that you already have your 2 people picked out. And it's time sensitive, so if your recommenders don't fill out the information, it doesn't go, your application is not looked at, because it has to have 2 recommendations, from what I remember, unless I come across something else that says differently. Okay, so having completed responses in advance will save time when completing EOP. Answers to these questions will help EOP determine your eligibility, just like the UC prompts. Be sure to respond as precisely and honestly as possible and expand on each answer. Use complete sentences and avoid responses such as yes or no. Academic writing, guys. This is a writing sample as well. Response to each question have a 2,500 character limit. All right, briefly describe your family's economic background. Include information about your financial challenges. By the way, the 2 recommenders need the same information, because as a recommender, they have to comment on why your family is financially challenged. Are you a first-generation student? Are your parents immigrants? Anything that would help your case or your cause in writing a letter of recommendation for you and helping you qualify for this. Why would you like to attend college? Discuss your career and personal goals. Are there any particular circumstances, school experiences, or persons that influence your preparation or motivation to attend college? Example, cultural, financial background, family, teacher, school, AVID program. Please explain. So you can kind of see already there's overlap in what you're already doing with your personal narrative and the UC prompts. The questions are along the same vein or thread. And that's where I say you can pull from what you've already done, either from the narrative or from your UC prompts as you're doing those, and help you to then refine what you need to put here. There are pieces that you can use. You don't have to start from scratch every time. You can use those and build on them, take away whatever you need to do to address the question. Briefly discuss your academic background. Did you utilize any additional support at your school, such as tutoring? Do your grades in high school and college reflect your academic ability and or college, but you're not transfer students, so that's not applicable. Reflect your academic ability and potential. Here again is if you had any challenges. We have kids who have lost grandparents, who've lost parents due to COVID. And maybe in their academics, they had a semester where they just didn't do well. That's hugely explained through that process. And that's a dire situation and a super sad situation, but that's something, it doesn't need to be that extreme, but that's something that you could talk about here, obviously, if that was something that you dealt with. There's any volunteer and any extracurricular or anything that you did up here that supported you, tutoring, did you, whatever you did. Did you use paper.co? That's a tutoring, that's a form of tutoring as well. Does any volunteer extracurricular activities or work experience in which you are or have been involved in the past 2 years? There's an extracurricular again that comes into play. They want to know what you've done outside of school or in school that's extra beyond your academics. And is there any additional information you would like EOP to consider in determining your admission program? Anything that goes above and beyond anything that you've said here already. This is another space, just like the UC prompt, where UC questions where you can throw something else in that you didn't get a chance to talk to. You never want to reiterate what you've already said or be redundant, but it's a space where you can literally talk about something that didn't fit, that is pertinent to why they should accept you or why you should be accepted to the program. All right, that's a lot. I know I'm talking really fast. Any questions so far? Okay, let's go to recommenders. To apply to EOP, you must have 2 recommendations. You should contact the individuals who will use you will use as recommenders before submitting the EOP application. Before submitting the application, and remember, the EOP application is your Cal State application. It's all in one. There are windows or boxes within the application where you'll go and you'll fill in the EOP, where you'll fill in the information for recommenders. So you need to think about that in advance. That's why I'm asking you guys to know if you qualify for this or not. Then you want to be ready and be prepared so that you can do this. Sorry, you should contact individuals who you will use the recommenders before submitting EOP application to get the correct spelling of their names and accurate email address. Talking to your recommenders in advance will help determine if they have the time and are willing to complete the recommendation form. The recommenders will be answering questions about your academic skills, characteristics, motivation, achievements, and barriers to success. You will need to provide this information to the recommenders so they can accurately write a recommendation for you. This is hugely important. Who to select as your recommenders? One recommendation must be from an academic counselor teacher that can comment on your academic preparedness for university academic work. The second recommender can be from an individual who can comment about your potential to succeed in college. For example, a counselor, a teacher, a community member, or an employer. So you have more leeway in the second one. The first one needs to be someone from campus, pretty much. Recommendations from friends or relatives are not accepted. So you can't have your mom write your recommendation. The statewide system EOP recommendation forms deadline is January 31. 21, but you are not going to, if you submit it then you might as well just go forget it. I'm not going to get it, but we highly recommend you submit the form the first month it opens, October 1. So October 1 is when the Cal State application opens. That's when we are in class. We're going to be jumping in. You guys are going to start filling out that application because all of you are going to apply to Cal Poly, if not any other Cal State, hopefully 2 or 3 Cal States as backup, even if you're going to go to the UCs. So October 1 is when we start this. And so this is all part of the same process. Some campus deadlines may vary. Please check EOP deadlines at EOP deadline. Okay, I'm just going to tell you, forget the January 1. If you do January 1, you're like way behind. It's got to be in October. And really like the first half of October, if you can submit this by like October 15th, you have a really strong chance of getting EOP. Cal State Apply application will automatically set the deadline at 2 weeks from the day you request the EOP recommendation. Recommenders can complete the form after 2 weeks automated deadline, but must receive by the campus deadline. Okay, so recommender 1 and recommender 2. Once you add in your EOP recommenders' names and email addresses into the EOP application and submit the Cal State Apply application, they will be emailed with a request to complete the recommendation by deadline. So I misspoke, and there's clarification right here. When you're filling out your Cal State Apply application and you're doing EOP, there is a section for you to put the recommender's name and email. That's where you have to be, I tell you guys, detail-minded to make sure that you have all that information correct, because if the email's wrong, if it's off by a letter or whatever, your recommender will never get it and they'll never be able to log in. We get an email from Cal State Apply and it says, so-and-so is requesting for you to be a recommender for them for EOP. We get the application, we fill it out, and we submit it. A lot of things happen this way. A lot of recommendations for like private schools as well, or recommendations for private schools. They will send the recommender an email. They will ask them to fill something out and send it directly back. You don't have anything to do with it except for you filled in their name to notify them. So as I said before, you always want to contact your recommenders, people that you are going to ask to recommend you personally, and say, I'm applying to EOP for Cal State. Would you be willing to be a recommender for me? Would you not write a letter of recommendation, because this is different. It's filling out their recommendation form, okay? But again, you're gonna need to provide them with some of this information. Even all of you that I know well, I don't know the details about your families and income, which is what I need to talk about so that I make you look like the best candidate I can in this. So once you did, did I ever say that? EOP recommendation, okay. Once you add in your EOP recommenders' names and email addresses into the application and submit the Cal State Apply, so you're submitting, they will then be received an email, and they're supposed to get back to fill in that recommendation within 2 weeks. It is your responsibility to ensure the 2 recommendations are submitted by the deadline, so you have to check and make sure your recommenders are on it. I believe you also get a confirmation. So when I've submitted them, my students have said, oh, I got a confirmation, or I see it, that they get a confirmation that I submitted that. But you also don't want to wait 2 weeks and then go back and say, Ms. D, remember I sent you a recommendation request for Cal State Apply for EOP? Oh yeah, I got so busy, I totally forgot. Like, you don't want to bug them, but you also need to make sure that you're checking in. And this is like keeping a list of who did I contact, what did I ask them to do, and just staying on top of it. You can check on the status of the recommendations on your Cal State Apply application by using the Check Status tab. As I stated, when I've submitted these, I can see in the Cal State Apply that it shows that I submitted, and I'm almost sure the student gets an email confirmation as well, but I would have to double check that. There's also EOP for the UCs, and it's only by campus. So if you look on here, Berkeley, Davis, Santa Barbara, and Santa Cruz, if you are interested in applying to any of those schools and you believe you qualify for EOP, you would also want to look into the application process for that. Online application, the criteria and the program is going to be theoretically the same thing. I don't know how much money the UCs give. I don't know how many they have, how many spots they have, but they also have this program as well. Okay. Questions, comments? I know that was a ton of information, and I know you guys can read, but there's explanation with all of that. Questions or comments? Alrighty, so your task starting, like we have I don't even know what time. Where are we at? 25, we have 5 minutes. Starting tomorrow, your task is going to be to write the answers to the EOP questions. I have set up, if I haven't, I will, on Turnitin.com, an EOP place for you to load those answers, because it's easy for me to go in there and then grade them. And I can work with you over the summer and give those back to you and have you refine them and whatever else you need to do. Okay, questions? I'll work with you tomorrow on the recommenders, what you need to send them, a sheet that you would give them so that they could help. So it would help them figure out how to best write a letter of recommendation for you. I guarantee whoever you ask is not going to know all the details they need to know with regard to writing you a good recommendation for EOP. There are literally boxes that we have to fill in, and we're writing a narrative about who you are, and it's kind of like what you're doing, but we're doing it from our end. So we need those specifics about you in order to make it the best that we can do. All right. Questions, comments? Tell me what you think of EOP in the chat or verbally. Will you be applying, yes or no? Let me go back to my chart. That was right here. This is the EOP chart. So income criteria. If you are a family of 2, max income is 37. So these are different than the Cal State. I'm sorry, the Cal Grant. On the Cal Grant, a family of 2, it's 99 is the high, or A and C. Cal Grant B is 46. So there's a lot more money your family can make in order to get a Cal Grant versus qualifying for EOP. That's why I put them on the same slide. If you have a family of 3, the max income is 42,700, family of 4, etc. You can look at this. You need to talk to your parents and see what is your income and see if you qualify for EOP. Okay. Several of you should qualify. And this is when it gets kind of like, I'm not really willing to share my information in front of everybody. And for me, guys, in order for me to help you the most, I'll be asking you guys stuff. And I keep a sheet where I look at where you're applying, what your family's income is, are you EOP or not, blah, 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 all this other stuff, so that I know how to best guide you. And if I don't know what to do, I always reach out to Ariana Sarcrona. I have the situation, what should I do with this student or for this student? So I just continue to tell you, we're not being nosy, and we don't need to know all your family stuff just because. We need to know so that we can help you best on making decisions for college, financial aid, scholarships, choices of schools, offers that you get, all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of pieces that come together to help you figure out for us to recommend what we think the best choice is for you. Bottom line, it's your choice. All right. All right. Let me stop recording. Stop.